It's Friday, 0 to 60. Bree Maestas, Matt McChesney. Matt, how are you?
Good morning. Happy Friday. Hope everybody's warm. I'm telling you, I just went and shoveled snow for the last hour. It is unbelievably heavy. That's the best workout I've had in like a year. That shit was terrible. Anybody out there shoveling snow, make sure you bend those knees, man. My lower back is screaming at me right now. Holy hell.
There's about 2 feet of snow out there right now for the most of the Denver metro population. It's terrible. I hate it.
It is awful.
Hired some neighborhood kids to get it done.
Man, I've got a north-facing house, so if we don't get out there and get it gone, it'll freeze as the sun doesn't shine on the front of my house like a cave. And we did that on purpose. But, I just wish that, like the city of Centennial, you have a snowplow. Could you come by and plow the damn road, please, for the love of God, so I can order some food so I don't starve to death over here?
Aren't you supposed to kill your own game and just fire roast it out in the backyard or something?
It sounds good, but that ain't happening. I'm not going hunting in this shit. We'll starve.
True words spoken from someone who believes they could live in the Viking years. I thought better of you, Matt.
I really did. Choice then. Now I have a choice. Now I have heat.
Oh, okay. Now that there's convenience, then that's out of the question.
Well, my house shoes, they aren't waterproof, so I don't know what I'm going to do.
Got to get you some Crocs. You know what else is very, very convenient?
Never wear Crocs. You're not going to get me in Crocs. No.
Well, that's dumb. I think that's dumb. And I think you should change your stance on that.
I don't know. You're going to have to prove it. But why Crocs?
I think in the next 12 months, I can accomplish that feat.
You think in a year from today that you can get me in Crocs?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think it'll be that hard. Good point.
I don't think anything that I ask of you would do so. But as far as convenience factors are in line, I got to get to our title sponsor because they make it convenient. BetOnline continues to be your number one source for all your basketball wagering needs, including pro and college hoops throughout the year. Selection Sunday is coming up. I'm excited for that. And with up-to-date minute odds, stats, and trends, you can follow your favorite team's path to the playoffs with in-game live betting, contests, and all the best player props. Experience the world's best wagering platform anytime on your desktop or your mobile devices. Head on over to BetOnline today and welcome their part of the team membership code here. Promo code BLEAV. That's Believe for your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here. I know we're going to be betting some with March Madness coming up. Matt, are you excited for some college basketball?
I am, man. I think the Buffs are definitely going to make the tourney after their win yesterday over Utah, so that's good. I think the Tad Boyle's team has a real chance to go in and turn some heads and go on a little bit of a run. But college basketball is always fun. I don't really watch it during the regular season, but come tourney time, I am glued to the television. So you'd figure college basketball might want to figure out how to maximize that. But shit, man, the tournament's always fun. It used to be real fun when I was in college and whatnot. You could literally just take the day off and watch basketball and drink. But it's still fun at 42. I can't wait to fill out a bracket and do better than you. I'm going to do better than you do. That's for damn sure.
Now you're just saying shit. Now you're literally just putting words out there. That's wild. For someone who doesn't play fantasy football to say that you would even have a chance against me in the March Madness bracket. It's cute. It's very cute. I appreciate you trying this morning.
Football is just for nerds and skill players. Big guys don't play fantasy football. That's it. It's nerds, skill players, and virgins. Those are the only people that play fantasy football.
I fall into the nerd category. Max Hess says, morning, Matt. Conveniently left out me, but that's fine. Good morning to you, Max. Moving
good morning over from I'll say good morning to you.
To me?
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you. Moving over from the greatest. Are you gonna interrupt me every time I open my mouth today?
Trying to defend you. I apologize.
What are we talking today, Max? Thank you for asking. That is a convenient way for me to let you know. We're going to talk some NFL free agency, winners, losers, and then anything in between. If you have questions or comments, get them in the chat right now. We're live, YouTube, 0 to 60, Matt McChesney, and then I just happen to be here. So let's get into it. I want to know what the most shocking move for you during this free agency period was. The league year started on Wednesday. There was some frantic moves being made. I think that there is some teams that really lost out in their hopes of moving on from some players this year. But what really shocked me is how much of a seller that the Buffalo Bills were. Sorry, that was my bad. I wasn't sure what her name was. I hadn't seen her prior. Good morning. Well, welcome to the show. I'm Brie Maestas, and it's nice to see you, Max. I'm just giving you shit. I really like to do it. If I threaten you, that means you're all right in my book.
We're probably friends.
Probably, I don't have friends. Anyways, Buffalo Bills selling off a lot. The Broncos really not making a whole lot of moves. I think that was anticipated with what they did last year in the offseason in their free agent signings, but they did clear a fuck ton of cap space. What shocked you so far in a fuck ton, an actual unit of measurement?
That's a unit of fucking. That's a ton of fucking. That's a bunch of fucking. All right, I'm with it. Look, the Broncos, the Bills, the Cowboys, they've all just been sitting on their hands. And Buffalo has been offloading like crazy, which makes you think if it's all been on Josh Allen in the past, man, it's going to be even more on Josh Allen in the future. The Cowboys have done nothing, and it's weird because they're cash flush and they're usually buyers in this market, and they really haven't done a damn thing. And then you look at the Broncos, and the Broncos have – I mean, look, I'm not upset at the moves they made other than Justin Simmons. I think it's really stupid. And I understand they're on straight rebuild. I get it. But they've been throwing this competitive football team mantra at us for 8 years, and it was all lies. Lies, all lies. And, losing a guy like Justin Simmons, and not only the player, but the man in the community, that's huge, and it's not good. So I'd say those three teams have probably lost out the most. But again, sometimes losing in free agency means you're going to win in the season, because I don't remember the last time the people that won free agency won a lot. Like, the Rams are a team that under McVay went and got, Stafford, and went and got OBJ, and went and got Von Miller, and it worked out for them that year. But usually you need to build your team from the ground up in order to win. And I'm hoping that's what Denver's doing. We'll see what Buffalo and Dallas are doing. But, some of these teams that are going big in free agency, a lot of the time that doesn't work out.
You think that swinging away during free agency is a bad look for some teams?
Well, it's overdoing it. Like the Saquon to Philly look, that's a good move. I think there's a lot of space there for him to work in. I love Derrick Henry to Baltimore. With Lamar Jackson being the leading rusher for the Ravens for so many years, you can't be consistent with that, because he's going to get his head ripped off eventually. So Henry being there to take all those carries, that's going to be phenomenal to watch in Baltimore. But the Kirk Cousins to Atlanta thing, it looks good. I mean, it looks good, but Kirk Cousins is a great regular season quarterback, and when he's not on primetime, or in the playoffs, he's pretty good. And when he's on primetime and in the playoffs, he's pretty average. So I just think Atlanta's buying into the whole, we've got all these skill players, and they're all young guys who haven't done shit yet. Drake London hasn't done anything. Robinson hasn't done anything. Pitts hasn't done anything. And they've had a carousel at quarterback. So can't Kirk Cousins go in there with these weapons who were good in college and figure it out? Maybe. But Atlanta's franchise, they throw a lot against the wall and want it to stick. And I don't know if Kirk Cousins is the stickiest of guys.
That's wild. I want to get your thoughts on the Jets, because there's
Jets. Let me get my hat.
No, you don't need to get the hat. It's unnecessary right now. Yeah. A lot of what you're saying is a very parallel idea of what Aaron Rodgers has been able to do. I know there's a question mark whether or not he'll even be back on the team, because it looks like he's running for vice president. I'm going to laugh my ass off, because all of this is so fucking dumb. And disclaimer for anyone watching this show, there may be some cuss words, because that's how humans in the real world talk. That's from Mike. No. we're going to lose sponsorship. Anyways, the Jets kind of quiet over there, but there's been talk that Zach Wilson could be moving on from the team. I know you're not hurt by any of that. Zach Wilson to the Broncos, would it be interesting?
No.
How would you feel about it?
No, please God, no. Please God, no. If the Mormon MILF hunter comes this close to Utah, well, first of all, we won't win a game because he'll be out hunting down all the moms in Centennial like fucking clockwork. That's what this guy does, okay? No, he is not the answer. Aaron Rodgers running for vice president, that might be the answer. Just legalize ayahuasca and the whole fucking country will just go into a dark retreat with you. I know you love Aaron Rodgers. Let me ask you, were you comparing Aaron Rodgers to Kirk Cousins there for a second? And you're looking up and to the right. I know you. That's
how are you? What were you anticipating from where I was going with the conversation?
You think that Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers are like on the same plane?
I mean,
there's no way you actually believe that. I know
the MVP conversation is very much so narrative driven. And I think that Aaron Rodgers' narrative has been overblown. And I think that he tends to really fail in really high stakes football. And Kirk Cousins doesn't perform when the spotlight's on him either. So yeah, I'm drawing some comparisons that you want to overspend on a quarterback. Look at where it got you. So I didn't highlight that comment. Matt took the liberties upon himself. I don't know who gave him permissions.
All right. So look,
Dante knows what's up. I think Rodgers is going to be pretty bad this year.
Yeah,
I think so too.
He could be. He's old. You know, the Jets' offensive line is terrible. Although they did just trade for Morgan Moses, who was there 2 years ago. There's just being an ex-Jet, okay, I am holding out hope, and I don't know why, okay, since Namath sold the soul of the fucking devil in the 60s, they haven't won shit, so maybe Aaron needs to do the same thing, and you got to have a soul to sell your soul, but that seems to be the problem. If he runs for vice president, come on, man. I mean, the fact that that's even a news story, it makes me want to it makes me kind of want to jump out of a window. I mean, it's just terrible. Terrible. If Aaron Rodgers, you're one fucking missed heartbeat away from Aaron Rodgers being president, I don't think so, dog. I couldn't handle President Rodgers. Fuck that. No way. I can barely handle him as the quarterback that doesn't hardly play for my team. If he's the president, I'm out.
Oh, he played 3 snaps. But let's move on.
Why you got to rub it in? God
That's what I do. Moving on from the Jets and Aaron Rodgers and Zach Wilson to Justin Fields. Mike's doing some background on me. Maestas is of Spanish origin. It's believed to be derived from the Spanish word maestre or maestro, which means master or teacher. My last name is actually Maestas. And it also is of royalty background. So, Mike, thank you for pumping up my ego today. What?
Your last name means master?
Master, teacher, maestro, of royalty. It's like the leader of.
Fucking A. I agree. That kicks ass. So, all right, cool. Awesome. I got some new material. Kick ass.
Kick ass, Mike Bundy. Justin Fields doesn't seem to have a market right now, or he does, and the asking price is just a little bit high for some teams willing to take the risk on the upcoming, 5th-year option. All of these ideas in one. He would be an exciting prospect for the Denver Broncos, but I don't know if I'm sold on that being any different than the roller coaster I just got off of. The one I just got off of was a little bit akin to, the Chipmunk. It's a wooden roller coaster, was getting old, and it was a little slow and boring. This one would be like the mind eraser. And if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, your brain basically gets jumbled from hitting the sidewalls of this coaster as it goes up, down, and around. I think Justin Fields would be exciting and entertaining, but also the bads would be pretty low. How would you feel about Justin Fields coming over to the Broncos? Or let me pose it this way, because right now we seem to be throwing every name at the wall and seeing if it sticks, much like some cooked spaghetti. What if they just don't make a move like that? And what if it stood them all the way?
I'd rather it be Stidham at this point. I don't want the Broncos to win 6-7 games. Like, I either need them to be relevant and win 10, 11, 12 games and get into the playoffs and be the franchise that we always thought they were, or we need to absolutely suck shit this year and just get it over with. We've been average forever, and that's why we don't have a quarterback. We can't find one where we draft that's anywhere near the level that we need for a starter in Denver, and then we're never bad enough to get to the top of the draft. So unless we're going to hit a home run on free agency again, which didn't get Kirk Cousins, thank God. Justin Fields, yeah, it'd be exciting. I mean, it would be cool, I guess, until he threw 4 incompletions in a row and the people in Denver lost their fucking minds. So, you know, they'll be yelling incomplete at their own quarterback. So I would rather just see Stidham, or I don't know who's the practice team guy, Ben DiNucci. We could see him too. DiNucci. We can get DiNucci or Stidham or whoever else wants to come man this 17 game monstrosity straight into a fucking mountain that we're going to watch next year. I wonder how many games and losses and poor performances it takes to realize that maybe Sean Payton is the problem. Never know, but I don't know. I in the perfect world, the Broncos are terrible and they put themselves at the top of the draft for next year, and hopefully they can get one of the top quarterbacks.
Okay, so maybe that's the ideal, is that if your guy isn't there and it looks like the Vikings are amassing more weaponry to get JJ McCarthy, is that you wait until next season and think about the prospects there. Maybe it's Dak Prescott. Maybe it's, I don't know. There's a lot of movement to be made. I don't think this is the year you take a swing on quarterback unless you absolutely love somebody. But I think it's been maddening for Broncos country to sit there and see what's been happening. Patrick George says, I just want to beat the Chiefs and the Raiders. Don't care if we lost every other game. So 4 wins total. Patrick George's okay with what happens.
4-13, beating the Chiefs twice and the Raiders twice. I'll take that, I guess. And then they can get Shedeur Sanders too. I'm with that.
That's 2 home wins. That sounds like misery. And that's fine. It's what we signed up for.
Those season tickets this year are going to be real fun.
I fucking hope so. The Titans, the Buccaneers, the Washington Commanders all made some really great moves, but took a lot of the Broncos players that were being released. The Broncos presently have about 27 under contract players. It seems pretty low to me. They cleared about $100 million in cap space. They'll be able to front load that Russell Wilson cap hit. Do you think it's a mistake letting some of those players walk? Lloyd Cushenberry comes to mind. How did you think his play was exponentially year over year? Last season being his best and the year prior almost being his worst. He was able to really showcase how much he's grown over the seasons.
$10 million a year for Lloyd is big time. Good for him. But this is another Broncos center drafted, developed, and then you let him walk. They just drafted and developed Connor McGovern and let him walk. Like that, at some point, you've got to retain your draft picks and sign them and build around them. It's not always just your quarterback. Like the fact that they can't have any consistency on their offensive line. The only consistent part of their offensive line is the fucking GB zone. And the only guy in that zone is GB. And we've all done, it's just, I don't live in that land and no one else does either, just him. So if he's like the model of consistency on the offensive line, and that's what we're looking for, I mean, no wonder we suck as bad as we do every year. So when you what's next? We're going to let Miners leave too, because we got to pay him eventually. Is he going to go to the Raiders or some shit? Because he's their kind of guy. So letting your draft picks consistently leave and not develop and build around them is just ridiculous. But they'll pay Powers and McGlinchey, but they won't pay their own guys. It's really it's
I
been
got
a
it.
in Denver, and it continues to be.
I got to interrupt you because we just got breaking news. Aaron Donald announced his retirement just minutes ago.
Wow.
That's pretty
yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty impactful. Matt, tell me what you think of hearing that news.
Okay, Aaron Donald, first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the best three techniques that's ever played, an absolute monster of a player. Monster. I mean, every time I hear a coach be like, "Oh, he's too short," I'm like, "Well, Aaron Donald's barely 6 foot. He's in that 6 foot club like John Randall." John Randall was one of my favorite players ever watching when I was a kid. Aaron Donald's been one of my favorite players I've ever watched as being retired. Glad I didn't have to play against him. That's a huge hit for the Rams. I'm sure that they wanted him to stick around for another year. But he's won a Super Bowl. He's won Defensive Player of the Year 2 or 3 times. He's been first team All-Pro pretty much every year he's been in the NFL. And
8 years, 10 Pro Bowls.
I mean, that's some impressive shit. So that's first ballot Hall of Fame shit, and he doesn't really have anything else to prove. And I'm sure he wants to go, live his life and be a dad and just live. So tip of the cap to 99. That is one bad motherfucker right there. I mean, I don't know if you're going to find a better player and a guy who hustled and really was like an old school player in the new school era. That's Aaron Donald. So I loved watching that cat play. And now, it opens up the floor for Fletcher Cox is now retired. Another great 3 technique. Aaron Donald retires a 3 technique. So, Chris Jones is now the bona fide best 3 technique in football, and it's not even close. And then, you got guys like Christian Wilkins who just went to the Raiders. By the way, the Raiders are going to be a problem. I know they lost Josh Jacobs to the Packers, and he's been a huge Bronco killer in the past. But when you can line up Christian Wilkins and Max Crosby, Baba fucking Yaga in an under front, and they get to go rush the passer, I mean, holy shit. Now you can't triple team Max anymore because they got another dude up front. So you better commit to Wilkins. I think the Raiders, that's a huge gift for Antonio Pierce. But back to Aaron Donald, you're not going to find a better player, a guy who worked harder, came in a little under-recruited at Pitt and really just dominate. I mean, I watched him at Pitt. They were playing Duke, if I remember, and they ran quarterback zone read power, and they pull the guard, and Aaron Donald sprints up the field and tackles the fucking quarterback and the running back at the same time in the backfield. It was crazy. So that's the kind of player he is, and young guys can watch the way he worked, because when you match unbelievable talent with unbelievable work ethic, you get Aaron Donald. That's the kind of guy you get, and that's what the NFL is about, man. You can get as many 6'6", 310-pound fucking eaters as you want out there, but when we put pads on, the guy who's willing to play harder and the guy who can play with leverage and strength, that's the one that's going to win. And Aaron Donald just showed that size and all that shit really doesn't mean anything. It's about what's in your head and is it connected to your heart. So 99, tip of the cap, bro. Go enjoy your retirement. You earned it.
3-time Defensive Player of the Year. Guess how many sacks he had career total wise?
110.
111. Nice job, Matt.
See,
That's good fucking shit.
I'm pretty. I guess, every now and then the old duder's head is not all clogged up.
It's still working.
Still working.
That's a good show.
Still working.
I don't have any other questions here to get to. Was there anything else from free agency that you wanted to touch on prior to us hopping off for the week?
No, it's been a great week. Brian Callen on Tuesday was funny. Go listen to the interview. He did a great job. It was quick and to the point, but we did talk about home invasion, so that was fun. And we'll be back on next week. We'll be back on Monday to bring you any news and notes from the weekend. Nuggets play again tonight. Can't wait for that. We'll start talking about basketball here as we move in to the playoffs here in March Madness and in the NBA. But
did you know the Denver Nuggets at the 66 game mark are exactly in line with where they were last year? That sounds like a back-to-back to me.
Sounds like somebody's going to wake up and repeat.
Woke up feeling like a champion.
I mean, damn, that team is really good, and Jokic is on some other shit. That's the MVP of the league. Although Luka is balling the fuck out right now, but Dallas just isn't the team Denver is. last year, Nicola getting screwed out of that MVP. I think that this year they'll rectify that. They're the 1 seed again. They're on a roll. They just beat Miami. So we'll see what happens this evening. But I really think that the Nuggets are on one. I can't wait to watch them.
The Avs are catching up as well, all top of the West and Central divisions. It's exciting time, again, to be a Denver sports fan. We don't get that with the Broncos right now. And it'll pick up once the draft happens, once the new uniforms are released. I'm sure we'll have plenty to say.
New uniforms for the Broncos?
New uniforms for the Broncos.
They better be kick-ass, because if they're not, then they're going to look shitty and play shitty. We at least need to look good if we're going to play shitty.
Well, I don't know what your concept of look shitty is. It's subjective.
If
one thing that
I'm out.
If there's what?
If they do white helmets like the whole time, I'm going to lose my mind. We don't do white helmets in Denver.
It's the alternate helmet. I don't believe that that's the plan whatsoever. Although I did see the edit with a new DB Brandon Jones wearing the white helmet and the Color Rush uniforms, wearing number 22. It looks good. I think it's a good look, but you're right. It's not the full-time uniform going forward. I heard the throwbacks are coming back. That's good. That'll make all the D logo folks happy. You keep asking for it.
Yeah, well,
I mean, it's fine.
Everybody in Denver wants the D. What? Not everybody. What? Did I say that out loud?
I'm whatever. If you're a fan of more Broncos talk, I'll be on Let's Talk Broncos tonight at 6 p.m. We're interviewing Caden Stearns, who's set to be the starting safety alongside PJ Locke. So tune on over there. If you don't already follow us, if you could do me a favor, hop on over to Let's Talk Broncos after this. Click the little follow, subscribe. You don't have to turn notifications on. Just go ahead and support me, because I'd really appreciate it. Back with Matt on Monday, I think, unless plans change. And we all know here, don't make plans, because that's not how it's going to work out. No, so we don't plan ahead. We don't prep. Gotcha. Roll. All right. We'll see you. Say goodbye to the folks.
Hey, goodbye, folks. Appreciate you. Peace.